I have been volunteering here for the last 2 weeks at the Reserva Santa Elena in Monteverde, and I thought it would be worth showing you a day in the life of what it's like being a volunteer, both at the reserve but also here in my homestay in Monteverde. I start my day with a healthy and/or hearty breakfast, which is lovingly prepared by my host, La Mamatica. It's usually definitely always fruit, and depending on how busy she's been, either some amazing pancakes, some cereal, or just yummy, yummy food. Pretty much a lot of my time here consists of food. Good food. Once I'm caffeinated and I've got my eyes in and I'm ready to go, I go catch the local bus from the town. But not before saying goodbye to this little cheeky girl. Bye bye, Bella! Ow. I head to the town centre where I catch the bus every day at about 8:30 in the morning. Honestly, I know this is going to sound a bit strange to some, but this has actually been quite a source of pride and accomplishment for me. A side note on travel anxiety. I'm going to fess up. I suffer from travel anxiety. And by that, I don't mean I am filled with anxiety at the thought of travelling alone for 6 months. No. No, I mean travel logistics. It's the case here, it's the case back in the UK, it is everywhere. I'm the kind of person who has to be very early, whether it's catching a train or a plane. I'm always at the airport, minimum 3 hours in advance. Anything like that. I feel more comforted when I know, for example, where I have to get off a bus or a train or something like that. Which makes things a little bit more difficult here, where things are a little bit more loose. So for example, on my first day at the reserve, I got told, right, so now you can just go catch the bus to the reserve. Stops at about 10:30ish, sometimes a bit earlier, sometimes a bit later. You can catch it from somewhere around there. No, it's not a marked bus, it's just a white busetta. Off you go. And on the outside I'm like, yeah, cool, thanks. On the inside I'm like, what does this mean? Where is the bus stop? What is a white busetta? If it's not marked, how do I know what it looks like? How do I know where do I get off? Do they know and they need to stop for me? All of these questions just kind of come flooding at me. Actually, you know, for all the anxiety, things do happen and I always end up in the right destination, and you know, you just sort of get used to the status quo. And that is one of the good things about working here for 2 weeks, is that I have gotten super used to the bus. I am like a pro at it now, to the point that other tourists with their anxiety-ridden faces come to me and they're like, is this where the bus to the reserve goes? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry, love. That is the value of slow travel, not appearing like a tourist. Anyway, back to my day. The bus takes about half an hour to get to the reserve, and without fail, I'm always astounded by how much the climate and the landscape changes as we get closer and closer. It can be the sunniest day down in town, but the closer we get, it gets cloudier, it gets more atmospheric, and the vegetation gets denser and denser until finally you arrive at the reserve. When I get to the reserve, I usually have myself coffee before starting my day, my second coffee of the day, just to ease into things. And then I crack on with a bit of work. So it depends on the day, on how I can help them, but it ranges between a bit of painting. I'm an expert painter, that's for sure. Doing a bit of gardening, which is quite different here. But mostly I have been helping them with a bit of communications, so they've been developing a self-guided tour, which I've been helping them to create a leaflet for, and a bit of a tourist questionnaire as well, which, as people who I work with will realise, is quite ironic that I'm working on a brochure and a questionnaire effectively, because apparently you can take the girl out of consultancy, but you can't take the consultancy out of the girl. But it's a great surrounding to work in, even if I am at my laptop. It's the kind of work that I love doing, and I get to do it in this location. I should say that it is a very relaxed working environment, so if I want to take a break, I can just go walk on any of the trails, go see what I can see in the reserve. I can go bug some of my newfound friends and colleagues and have a chat with them, and just make the most of being in the reserve. I finish my day at 4 p.m. when I have to catch the last bus back into town. After that, I can relax, I can do a bit of work on my blog or have a chat with anybody in family, play with Bella. And just enjoy my evening. All of this before my hostess with the mostess, La Mama Chica, cooks me up an amazing dinner. And after that, I head for bed for a good night's sleep. So, back to the purpose of this. Back to being exploring and back to sustainable travel, because that has been a key part of why I have been volunteering for the last couple of weeks at the Reserva Santa Elena. Because when it comes to sustainable travel, there's a lot of different ways that you can give back to the community, to the environment, and consider those as part of your tourist experience. And a key part of that is how you use your tourist dollars. So for example, if you're booking a tour, you can look into making sure you're using a local guide or making sure you're using a responsible organisation, which are all key and important things, but they're also quite expensive. So for example, booking a day tour here can cost somewhere between $50 and $100, which is quite expensive, especially if you are on a backpacker budget, as I am. I will be doing these tours, but I have to space them out as much as I can. So for example, I'm trying to do at the moment one every week or so. So I have to think about other ways that I can give back, essentially. And there's two key ways I can do that. Firstly, time. I've got a lot more time to provide. I'm traveling for 6 months, and that means I can give a lot more of my time and resource to somebody or an organisation or whatever is needed. Secondly, whatever's up here. Not that there's much, but I do have some skills, some experience and some knowledge that I can provide, hopefully. So that is why volunteering is quite a key part of my 6-month trip, and I've got a few dotted around. But actually, what I've learned over the last 2 weeks is that the key thing that has actually come out from it for me is cultural appreciation and understanding. It's been actually spending 2 weeks with the community and getting to know people and understanding what life is like here, actually, how people work here, how they live, how they have fun, and actually getting involved as much as I can, and stepping away from the backpacker trail for a little bit and distancing myself from tourists as much as possible, and actually trying to live the Costa Rican way, which has been hugely rewarding. But now we are back on the backpacker trail. Tomorrow I'm back to San Jose, and after that I will be going to Puerto Viejo on the Caribbean side, going to enjoy some beach time, and there's a few things I'm going to be exploring there. So until the next one, see you later.